Copyright 2017 Win Your Brand. All rights reserved. This video is subject to copyright owned by Win Your Brand. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this video is expressly prohibited, unless Win Your Brand has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.
Yes.
Is it useful today?
Oh my goodness. Just lots of information.
Okay, sorry. Okay. So let's just pass these cards over. So each one of you should pull a card and don't read it till we read it together.
Feel the light energy.
Yeah. So
We got all these,
you
yeah.
do tarot.
Mm-hmm.
Are you not supposed to read it yet?
Not yet.
I'm just reading that one and I'm like, I don't think this that. And I'm like, I discovered 3 weeks ago that my eyes are my eyes and my bladder are the only thing that's really aged on me.
I really don't want to know how you discovered it.
My wife has to be cranberry juice. Lots and lots of cranberry juice.
To help with the bladder.
Okay, so can you now flip your card and read it?
I don't drink any juice.
And close your eyes and take a minute and feel what this statement means to you and means to others around you. How can you get motivated? How can you achieve this statement if you can? And just you can come back to the room once you and if you come back, you are more than welcome to share. You want to share?
Yes, I do. I always want to share with them. I also feel like I need to hold back and let others go first.
It's up to you.
So that is actually the theme of this card. And so
So what the card reads?
the card said, winning isn't everything, but wanting to win is. And so I often play games, but I rarely ever play to actually win, like to go clobber the other person. I play so we can all enjoy the process of playing. And I don't have to always be first. It's important that we're all enjoying the experience and moving forward together. That's
So does it mean anything for anybody else?
this is winning isn't everything, but wanting to win is.
Definitely that drive and desire to put your best effort in everything you do, even when there's a risk of failure, not just when there's a risk of being too easy
Okay. Someone else wants to share? Feel strongly about it? You want to share?
Yeah, I'm always one. I like sharing. Don't expect others to hand success to you. Create it with heart, energy, and enterprise, and you will make it come true.
And what does it mean to you?
Just divine synergy. I'm rereading a book from 1945.
Oh, you have a book from 1945.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And you start reading it right now?
I did.
You waited that long?
You know what? I read it. I read it in 2008, and I refound it in my bookshelf.
Okay.
Called The Powerless Subconscious Mind, and it just talks about sort of creating it with heart, energy, and enterprise, and then make it come true. So just a very specific message for me.
Good. Someone wants to share his card as well? No pressure.
I can share mine.
Okay.
Whoever is present in your spring would more than likely have respected your winter.
So what does it mean to you?
You know, it comes back to being it's okay to ask for help. And that asking for help is not a demonstration of weakness.
I am surprised that you say asking for help is a demonstration of weakness, because I always feel like if you ask for help, it means you are very strong to identify that you really need help. But the question is, who should you ask help from? Because if you ask the wrong people, if you ask the enemy, which is closer to you, they will not help you. So you need to identify the real friend or the real person who really wants you to advance. So majority of the time we ask for help from the wrong people, and we follow their advices, and suddenly we are out. This is my 2 cents. Yeah. Lily, you want to share?
Sure. Winning and losing is not an external game. It is an internal battle over telling yourself the truth versus lies regarding why you haven't stepped into the life you've dreamed of. And I have been working very hard on this, especially in the last year. So changing, and that's a huge process, changing those limiting beliefs. Well, first of all, becoming aware of them.
Yep.
And then changing it.
You'd like to share?
No one can make you better emotionally, mentally, spiritually, or physically. You have to find this for yourself. And I think I'm one of those people who always wants to kind of better myself. It sometimes feels like an endless journey, and it can get emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically exhausting. But I think this card reminds me that I first need to kind of define what better is for myself instead of just going on this journey of what is better and never really finding it. So I define it for myself, then I'm more likely to end up achieving it for myself and getting there.
Okay. Huh? Good friend over there.
Hi. Mine says focus all your life energy to whatever goal you set to achieve. And so I think the first vision I kind of had in my mind was like, oh no, I have so many goals. How do I set my whole life to just one goal? And then I thought of just one goal that I wanted to achieve. And
Don't tell me paying the insurance for the car, okay?
what?
Don't tell me paying the insurance for the car, okay?
Yeah.
No. It's I don't know, I've always wanted a St. Bernard, so it's like if I really wanted a St. Bernard, then I'd have to use all my life energy, which was like I would have to make sure that I have a job so that I can feed it and take it to the vet, and that I have time to walk it, and I give it that space. So if I really care about that St. Bernard, then I'm going to use everything in my life to make sure that it's well taken care of. That's kind of what I got.
So, did you learn a lot from this card? Each one.
I have not, no.
Go ahead.
What is difficult in training will become easy in a battle, by Sir Borov Alexander.
And what does it mean to you?
It's if you're giving yourself time for practice, and I relate it because to kendo practice and the discipline that it takes to do some of the maneuvers in kendo are extremely painful, but they're the ones that are making you more flexible, those spine muscles more reactive. You go through a lot of challenges and then pushing through and learning, so that when the real test comes, it's muscle memory and you're not even thinking about it.
Yeah. Good. So, we invented these cards, and we recommend that each day in the morning you should pick up a random card and read it. And you should also consider doing this before you go to bed. And just the same practice, just give it 1 or 2 minutes and look at what does it mean to you. Does it really inspire you? So we have these cards, and they are also, you can grab them. The VIP will get 1 complimentary, and your VIP You are a VIP. And because of you here are VIP, and they are also available for people if you'd like to participate in this exercise.
Thank you.
You can upgrade always to VIP and just see the other value on the table. So now we go to the third module, and this may be the first time. We always have two module, but I want to do three module, and I want to do surprise on Sunday as well, because you are actually a more evolved group than the groups we used to deal with. So this module is supposed to be very quick. It describes your value. So what you should do, you should go to page 28. And on page 28, you need to go through the list. And you select the values that you don't resonate with.
One you do not.
Yes. So this is an elimination exercise. What's this helicopter? So you basically need to go one by one and eliminate the ones you don't like. And if you've gone through the whole list, just put your pen down so we can move to the next step. So, how many did you eliminate?
3.
3. How many did you eliminate?
I think I have 7.
You eliminate 7? Okay, so I want you to go back to the table. You should retain 5.
These are ones that we don't like, right?
You eliminate the one you don't like.
Yeah.
So you go through this list, and you need to keep at most 5 at the end.
So we get rid of some again?
You get rid of them again.
Okay.
And you keep getting
Oh,
rid.
we're only supposed to have like
You're supposed to have 5 unmarked.
unmarked.
So this is an elimination approach. Why we do it elimination approach? Because when I tell you pick up the one you like, you'll pick up the first one, not the true ones.
Right,
So when we get you into eliminating, you will force yourself to go at least one run without making a hard decisions. So you'll be aware of all of them.
so we should be eliminating most of them?
Most of them except 5. And there are 6 columns, so you cannot trick us and say, okay, I will keep 1 per column, okay? I had people doing so many, trying to shortcut it. If you follow the practice, you will maximize the value from this exercise. And you are here anyway, so let's just play.
this mean again?
It means to you whatever it means to you. So most likely, if you don't know it, you just basically eliminate it. Because I cannot appreciate something I don't know. So if you have a short list, you just write the short list and try to rank them. Which one is the most value you admire? What is the top value? Done? Okay, so do you have 5 top values?
Yeah.
Not yet.
I have 5.
Can you rank them?
1 through 5?
The top value and the least value.
Out of those 5.
Yeah.
I believe I have them, right? They are numbered.
Okay, that's good.
Would you like me to share?
Not yet. Let's just give a chance to everyone. So if you even have 7 or 8 values, just figure out the ranking for them.
It was hard. Although every time I went over it, I was also discovering things that, oh, you know what, this doesn't have the importance that I thought it did.
And that's why this is an elimination process, not a selection process. So who's ready to share the top value? Whoever wants to go first.
Okay. This was really tough for me, but I came down to
1. I need 1.
5.
I need only 1.
Oh, my first one's adventure.
Adventure. Does anybody else has it?
As a first, no.
Okay. What does it mean to you?
Adventure means, this is why I could cut off some of them, was like adventure means to like be curious about things and to do spontaneous things, and it means to get out there and see the world differently,
Okay,
like a fun way.
that's good. Can we go ladies and go first?
Yeah.
What's the top one?
Integrity.
Does anybody else has integrity?
Not as top, but it's on my list.
Okay, so yes, that's good. So what does it mean for you?
Being who you are and being true to yourself.
Okay.
Who you are.
Jennifer, what's integrity means to you?
Say what you do what you say, kind of thing.
And this refer back to my comment to you, my good friend here.
Yes.
If you don't know the meaning of it, I'm not answering it.
Mm.
Because when we do these values, you'll see there are 2 different interpretations for the same words, right? And they sit next to each other.
Yeah.
It will not make a difference if they sit elsewhere, okay? But a value is something to me. It comes from inside to outside. My understanding of the word and how I can apply it for myself is different.
Right.
So that's why I cannot interpret your value. Okay? If we have a much bigger group, you will find lots of people having integrity, which I don't like. Anyway, but when you have it in, so what was your definition of integrity?
It's being true to yourself, being who you are.
And what's your definition to integrity?
Do what you say and say what you do.
So both of you are more than welcome to go to their websites, their materials, their communication, and say, I value integrity, and it means to me,
Explain it, yeah.
and it means to me with your own word. That's why it's very important to write down what does it mean, and this is what we have actually under this step. Okay? So now we move to the next presenter. So which one is the top one you have?
I was between adventure and experience.
Yeah.
And I'm like, to me, experience in my way is adventure. And adventure is experience. And I want to feel everything. I want to go through life and feel stuff. It doesn't always have to be successful.
Okay.
I just want to live fully.
Is there anybody else has experience?
I did venture.
So that's cool.
Okay, that's good. Who did not share? Go ahead.
For my first one, I had health.
Okay.
I think, like, going through university and all these things, I made a lot of sacrifices, and so I feel like I value it more because I went through school and I was drinking coffee all day, and so now I don't really want to have a business where I substitute taking care of myself for drinking coffee and not sleeping.
Oh.
So it has to be, like, I have to be able to maintain my health within my business.
Does anybody else has the same value? Okay. Timothy, you want to share?
My number one was family.
Family. Does anybody else has family?
On my list, but not number one.
Yeah, but it's inside the five, like you have
Yeah,
family.
I have my number two.
My number two. Okay, that's good. So what does mean to you?
We all are, as a human, aren't able to actually survive on the planet by ourselves. So our family is our support groups, our tribe, people who are advocates and champions for you, your support systems, the people you work with, and that culture of human connectivity is really important.
Okay. So who cannot be your customers? If this is your top value, who cannot be your customers? People who have high ego, they don't feel good, and they don't believe in the tribe, in the support,
Sure.
in the community. They are in it for themselves. These people you shouldn't do business with. So can you see how this exercise can help you figure out why people don't like you? Are they wrong or you are right? It doesn't matter. The bottom line is you don't want to be around these people.
I don't
So-
care 'cause I'm having fun.
Yeah, so you should go around and say, who is here self-promoting himself, who is here doesn't like to be in a group, who has a high ego because you shouldn't talk to me. Don't do this, okay? don't count your people in this way. So what family means to you, Jennifer?
Family for me is those who are closest to me. So if you sort of think of yourself, then my immediate circle around me, those I'm going to be most affected by them no longer being part of my circle.
Okay.
So, for example, I have some that I would consider family that are not blood, and some blood that I would consider not necessarily in that first circle,
Yeah.
as being the ones I want. So my family are the ones I am putting before anybody else.
And when you know how long she has been with Holistic Earth and what she's doing, it makes sense, that's right. Because when we are honest and we dig more into these values, we will figure out why who we are and who we serve and why we resonate with people, why we don't resonate with people. And there is nothing wrong to change your values. There is nothing wrong to know that your value does not fit the community, but you have to serve the community because you have a better message than anybody else, and you have to work away on your own value against your values. It doesn't matter, but just this time, as I said, like you are a sample of 6 or 7 individuals here, and I'm basically showing you how this one exercise, one page, and it can be different. So what's your family means to you?
So I put taking care of my health as the first, and my second is my efforts.
Yeah, but you had families, right? You had
Yeah,
families.
yeah, and my efforts beyond taking care of my own health, I want to be able to take care of my family. So that's why I placed family as very important to me.
Okay.
Whatever my efforts are, whether that's in my business or through education, whatever my actions are, I want to be able to use it to help my family.
Okay. Good.
I just wanted to share that I super struggled with crossing off family.
It was in my top 7 here, but I had to break it down to 5, so family was one.
It sounds that family is good here, you know.
Well, I skipped over it a few times because I knew it wasn't one of my top, but I was like, I can't make myself cross it off. And then I did because the others are
Just wasn't in the top 5.
great.
That's what I was saying.
Good. Ranchelle.
Still have some work to do on this. This is actually interesting because I've done a huge shift. So my values are a little bit different.
Okay.
And so my top value would be love.
Love. So does anybody else has love as a 5?
Love corresponded with family, so that I look at that.
No, love is love, man.
And no, because
Love is love,
I crossed it
man.
off already.
there was a lot of similes in words, so I basically
Love is one.
anything that was.
So let's just first hear from Ranchelle. What love means to you?
Very all-encompassing. So love of self-love, right? Because if you don't love you, it's very difficult to extend that. But love can be not in what I think people often define it like. So there's a love of family, love of business, love of my health, passionate, it's just significant, just everything to do with actually a lot of these words. I thought I can encompass a lot of my values into love. I love my day, right? I love the people. I love my website. So to me, it was like this broad sense of and just this personal piece of what's going on my world about extending what that actually means, because people have this really in the box thinking of what love is from my perspective. So yeah, thank you. And I was quite surprised it was love because I was like, ooh.
But nobody else has love.
Things have really shifted.
You did?
Yeah, it's my 5th one.
So what does it mean to you?
Love means to, yeah, it crossed up a couple of them because it was generosity. It means to me like respect and listening to others, and it means like taking care of yourself and taking care of your health. That's self-love. And then like acceptance is part of that.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
So do you see how they vert these two definitions? There's only
yeah.
4 letters. Yeah, and actually love is my good example, because I always, when people ask me like, why what you do is different than any other marketing and management, and they teach this in school, I stand and say, if you listen to the word love in 1920, 1930 songs, and every decade, pick up a song in this decade and listen to a song which has the word love into it. If you go to Timothy and what you ask him to do is, can you show us the wavelengths of love? So you will find that in 20s and 30s, people will have love. Right now is love. People used to spend more time saying the vocals because they have enough time in their life. Right now, everything is moving too fast. So marketing and communicating after 2014 is different. Because having these devices here, as much as you love them, it gives you the superpower to lead what you listen to, what you see. You can swap. So people don't have enough time. I'm not sure if you notice the advertisement, for example. It used to be 2 minutes and a half in 56s. Right now is less than 30 seconds. Episodes and movie, like how many of you here see Gone with the Wind? Do you know Gone with the Wind?
Yeah.
How long is this movie?
3.5 hours.
What's the story?
It's about love.
Yeah, but
and the trials and tribulations that happen.
and how many movies like it have been coming
Gone.
lately, which is less than 2 hours?
Many. 2 hours is even too long.
2 hours is even too long. Like right now, when you go to the
Watch
movie,
Hobbit.
yeah, like right now, actually,
The Titanic was one of the longest movies at that time, and people
Yeah.
were like, "Oh my goodness, it was in the theater for
Can't
so
believe it's
long."
on 2 tapes.
yeah.
Right?
So right now it's very common to go to the movie theater, and I did my PhD in video technology, and I was developing video standards, so I'm very close to this industry. And I worked in Disney, but not as a character. Okay. When we do this work, we now come to go and see 93 minutes movie, 87 minutes movie. 20 years ago, this was be rip off
Yeah.
because our attention span have been
Compressed.
reduced, not compressed, reduced.
Reduced to this.
Because of the style of lives we have. So this will make us aware if we go to countries who are not as fast as our countries, our messages will be different. Our sales cycles has to be different. If you go from east to west of Canada, it's different. And if you go to the US, your sales presentations must be different if you want to achieve the same conversion rate. So that's why I'm very proud of what I do, and what I love about what I'm doing is we bring the 2014 plus, 2014 and after technology. It's not you go with the standard marketing. Unfortunately, in universities and schools, they still teach the classics,
4 Ps, right?
you know? Because this is what they know. Like, when I used to be a university professor, I always ask, you know what, why is this old professor still around? Because the only job they can do is being a professor in the university. That's it. Anyway, Jennifer, you did not share your top one.
Oh, my first one was loyalty.
Does anybody else has loyalty in the top 5?
Mm-hmm.
So what loyalty means to you?
Loyalty is giving back what you're given. It's equality. It's hard for me to define. It's almost like your love in being loyal to something. If I give my loyalty to somebody, I expect that in return. Don't always count on it, but it's almost an expectation I have of in return, and I would go to the wall for those that I give my loyalty to.
Okay. So, love it. So, what you should do under this tell is you go to your 5 and you should define them by adding a sentence or so. Now, you forgot the exercise. So when you describe them, how will you describe them?
With those different personalities.
Or different.
We had
With the D's,
The-
right?
the colours.
So-
That one.
oh, okay. Yeah.
Wait, we should describe them with those colors?
you always attempt to maximize the use of
Oh, look, yeah, I missed that.
reactions or relating, or so you always figure out if you can. If you can't, you can't. That's right. So if you can figure out, and I would encourage you, for the sake of the time, is as you go back to your action sheet and make it an action for tomorrow, before you come tomorrow. And if you are scheduling tomorrow and you're coming for Sunday, we will follow up on you. Make a point here that you say, I will write this tell, I will review my values, and I will write this tell, and the completion will be before the next time you come back here, because I know some of you may skip tomorrow or have some sessions tomorrow. Now, if you do you have any other actions you want to add to the action list based on what we discussed before? The most important part is you come back with an action list. All the knowledge will disappear from your mind within a week of the learning, right? Actions, which is the only impactable was the only impact you can do in your life. So if you go back to the page 30, for each value, you should ask yourself how much alignment do you have with this value. So you have 5 values. Are you aligned with all of them at the top alignment? And let's call the top alignment to be 5. And the less alignment to be 1. What?
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I just thank you. You just gave me a beautiful gift.
Huh.
So I'm happy to share. I've been really out of sorts this last little bit, and so then you asked me if I'm in alignment with my values, and I go back. I'm like, well, no wonder I'm unhappy because I'm not living in my alignment. With
So
my values.
which level you have? Are you 5? Are you 3? Are you 2? Are you 1?
Thank you for that gift.
Pleasure. And you don't have obligation to share. You don't have obligation that we sneak a peek. There is no camera recording you marking it. You'll walk away with the notes to your home, or you leave it behind till tomorrow's up to you. Whoever aligned with, does anybody has all of them 5 alignment, fully aligned? Okay, so if you are not fully aligned, you need more time. If you are not fully aligned with them, you move to activate. So activate is we are about making a change to have a better alignment. So what value needing alignment? And this will be on page 31. And what can you do to align these values? So it said here, studies show that you are 33% more likely to commit to something once you put pen to paper. And I didn't know, when we had this material, we didn't know what her name, Michaelia, because Michaelia from Your Holistic Earth has a program called Pen to Paper.
Oh.
I just knew her about a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
But this material, we had it like 3 years ago. Okay, so but the commitment you have is when you put information to paper. So what actions can you take to have the alignment? What actions do you have to, steps you have to take to increase the alignment? And if you want to volunteer to share, I'm more than happy. If you don't want to share, it's up to you.
I
You
can
can
share.
share at least one.
So my health was not in alignment, and this is some advice that he had given me about planning my day better. And so I need to kind of plan my schedule and kind of my meals together, so that I'm making sure that I have enough time to kind of complete what I want for the day, as well as make sure that I'm taking time to take care of myself. So right now I kind of make a few goals, and then I feel like I'm flying by the seat of my pants, but I could really make more of an effort to plan my schedule so that I can also add in my meals and time to rest and everything like that.
And it takes about they talk from 21 days to 66 days, 66 days, more than 2 months, to change an habit. That's right. Okay. Anyone wants to share? Anyone more for sharing? Okay.
So out of my 5, 4 of them are pretty high alignment.
Good.
My 5th one is fun, and so I'm not always having fun, and the reason why is taking on things that I can do and I'm good at, but I don't want to do. So overcommitting. Fun, not getting enough time with my kids and my grandchildren, who all live right in town, so I need to schedule more time to be with them. And similarly, social time with friends. Just, meeting new friends like you guys today, like, I just love this.
Yeah.
And I'm not going with friends.
Good. Okay, so as I said, it takes 21 days. So I have something I'll give to you as a gift. It's a sample of one of my books, which can help you on the alignment thing. It's a different way. I call it 30 days to win and more, and the daily journaling. But this is a different set of journaling. This journaling will come as if you go to page 3. On page 3, this is our things you need to do it in a specific day. And this whole page is for one day. Okay? So what you need to do on page 3 for a day is you need to have at least top 3 priorities for the day. What you want to achieve today. Okay? So on page 3, we have the day. So on the top you say, let's get things to be done today. So you should put the date. Then you can say, what are the top priorities of the day today? So this is not like a regular journaling, because journaling means you write what you did. This is our mid-ground. You need to wake up and know what the priorities to achieve today. If the priority to do the laundry and the cooking, it's okay. If the priority is to finish a couple of deals, it's okay. If the priority is to complete my product roadmap, it's okay. Whatever priority you have for the day. And then you will go and you have the course, you have the drinks also, so you can pick up what drinks you are. And in a different format, we don't have drinks. But you remember that to keep healthy, how many cup of waters you need, how many liters you need to drink.
It looks like
16.
I have lots of discussion about this logos, okay?
Lots and lots of ounces.
Yeah.
All the ounces.
and 3 bottles of wine.
Yes. Because you know what? When I use this for people to come back from or recovery, the fact is you see a wine and you say, I'm not drinking it. It helps you endorse. Let's say I'm not getting wine today. So if people want to reduce wine or give up on wine, like this tool, I use it in a different way based on the audience, but that's why we had lots of discussion in the full book, which is I can share it with you tomorrow. Like we have this for like at 30 days and 90 days. We don't have the logos there, but this is the one we give because sometimes we'll be in a transformational coaching session and say, okay, you need to use this to start to have new habit. Can you basically ignore the bottle or say no to the bottle every day?
Yes.
Okay. You also have what you eat, so you have to make it balance. As this is page 3, so the page is also. You also have this can wait till tomorrow. So I use this with my son because he doesn't make his bed. He doesn't have. You understand that? He has like has the iPad and the laptop, and then the food on the top of it, and then his clothes, and then his backpack on the top of it. So we use this for him to make sure that what he did, you know. Also, you have here something called things can wait until tomorrow. How many of you will do activities today and you give up on a more higher priority activity for the day and you say, oh, you know what, I could do this tomorrow.
Like the basket of laundry I didn't fold. It's part of chores, but it's still waiting until tomorrow.
Yeah, so you can be aware. Now, then you have good things of today. What are the good things of today? What happened to you today is good. You have appointment and dates. You can also have fitness and exercise. The biggest one is email over phones. Remember, when your communication is not the best things you have and you want to market your products and you don't know, you don't want to market, so what you do? You write here who you wrote an email for, an email to, and who you picked up on the phone to call. That's right. Will this help? So this will force you to write as many as you can of 10. So if you have no habit of communicating or sending emails or shy from calling the phone, this will change, will help you change. Then you have random stuff, you have ideas and plans and doodles, you know. So I found out this is a different tool. So if you wanna align your values, you can use this tool on a daily basis, and every day you have a similar page. Okay? And if you finish the week complete, I'm more than happy to give you another week sample at my cost. Okay? Like every time you come with a complete week, I will give you a free one as a replacement, as long as I live, or as when your brand is living. I have no problem. If this will help you change. So the concept we developed was driven from what we call it 90 days plan to build your business. So if I get you to page number 1, which is the introduction, you will see in the middle, also if you go to winyourbrand/journaling, you don't have to be in person, like you don't have to come to Calgary. I know many of you may not be from Calgary. So if you go there is a way to order it. And if you show or give us a snapshot that the journal is full, we will send you at our cost replacement journals. We keep doing it till you give up. Have no problem doing it. As long as you fill the journals, you show us it's completed, we give you a replacement at our cost. Okay?
We can just download it though too, right?
We have to be, you cannot download it.
Oh, okay.
Because this also sells on Amazon. The big version of it.
Oh.
But as I'm saying, like if you fill it, I'm more than happy to replace it lifetime. No problem. Now, if you go to the first table, it talks about my 90 days goal. So one of the activities I love to do is every 3 months or so, we set up some personal goals, some health goals, some passive income goals, some communication goals. So I start here with 5 different goals. Rule number 1 of the rules say what?
Know the rules so you can break them.
So you can break them, right? So if you have different category of goals, add them or change whatever you like. Okay? And there is some exercises where it help you brainstorm about what are your goals. Then from this 90 days goals, you go to the monthly goal. So if I plan to lose like 15 kilograms, my first month will be 10 kilograms or 5 kilograms. Okay? If I plan to get 6 customers by 90 days, what's my next month? Is it 2 customers, 3 customers, 1 customer, whatever it is? If I plan to finish to launch my business in 90 days, here I will finish on the first month. I will finish the product roadmap. I will plan the website. I will write my first product offer, for example. And then from this planning, I go to page 2, which will give me a weekly to-do list. Okay? And the weekly for us is 5 days. It's not 7. So we use the other 2 as a buffer so you don't overcommit yourself. I personally commit only 65% of my time. That's it. I don't commit 100% of my time. So that's why I believe you can only commit 5 days. Now, Timothy will say, you know what, but I mainly work on the weekends because all the shots and all the movie shots he engaged with it, majority of them are weekend projects. Rule number one of the rules what?
No other rules, so you can break.
So you basically can label your 5 days, whatever they are. And then, what must to do this week? So you have an anniversary to go, you have a ballet to go, you have a graduation to go. Then the complete list of things to do, what you should do. There are also 3 calls you have to make and 3 emails you have to write. And I know somebody on the table here will say, so I plan to do 3 and 3, and on a day I have to put like 10 emails and phone, which is basically 5 each. Yes, because you will get an email and you have to respond to. That's right. Okay. If you must send 10 emails and 10 phone calls, we have to talk because there's something not right. Then my biggest project is, and my milestones are, and you have to talk about my winning point is set at. So how do you feel? So if you feel down or frustrated, you will start at 1 to 2 to 3. And when you observe week after week after week, if you don't develop better ranking, you need to figure out a different program because this will not be working for you.
Can you just explain what the 1, 2, 3, 4 again is?
What's your satisfaction? What's your happiness level?
Okay, that's the satisfaction at the end of the week?
No.
As to how your week went?
Currently.
As you're filling it out.
Currently. This is the planning. This at 0 time of the week. Then in the full version, you will have every 7 pages another week. So when you plan the following week, your happiness will be, or your winning attitude should be what? Should be higher or the same. Okay? So I work with individual and I said, yeah, we are happy, you know, like we are 10. Okay, keep yourself 10. After some times when you realize that you don't perform, you'll find yourself, you know, like sliding down. It means there is something. Okay, you have to rethink about what you do. As I said, like if you start and say I'm low steam here, I don't like to sell, you know, I don't like to ask for the sale, I don't like to ask for the business, and I'm doing this too, and you do it a couple of times by inviting people and asking them to share the community and share the value, not really sign up for the business, you will feel you have a better attitude and better feeling. That's right. And what I'm saying, if you go for like 6 weeks and this does not enhance, you go figure out some other alternative techniques because this tool will not help you. And the biggest thing for me is when I present a tool in front of somebody, I say when you have to decide to look for alternatives because I'm not here to fool anybody. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So what's each one of you winning set point right now? If you can mark this right now.
Personally, I have 4.
Mark it 4. So how do you feel about your life? How do you feel about where you stand right now?
I was talking that answer
How
from
do you
business. Not
how
as a
it doesn't
person.
matter, business. How do you feel? How are you satisfied? How are you content?
Also, this is just about us in general, not about, oh, well, that's,
Yeah, the personal side is way better.
yeah.
This is you can use whatever you want to use. And if you want to run one for your personal life and one for your business,
Yeah.
draw another line. Rule number 1 of the rules. So simple. You understand the concept now, that's right?
Exactly. So yeah, business might be super happy, but Kim is doing great.
Any questions? How many of you here feel like we wasted time today?
No. Definitely not.
Is that a real question?
Yep. A real question because many people, many of us will go spend time in different events and different workshops and activity. And we will not even during the activity feel like we have been receiving enough material for our time. The most valuable thing is not the money. The most valuable thing is the time. Because if you don't invest in your time, we can afford losing time, but we cannot claim it back. That's right. So if you want to relate on what happened today, what you would say? If you want to like give me like a reflection of what happened today. What
It's
did you
been
like?
Great. I've learned a new angle of looking at the business and getting clarity and the languages. That's huge on reading people and being able to speak their language. Because I get the part of how if they resonate with you, but I had no clue on any of this as far as me directing my conversations to specifically to what their needs are, like as far as where they're coming from.
Wow. And this is actually, I have a book coming called Beat Your Audience. It will be coming around October. It only talk about this concept. And when I go with my business card and people see PhD on it, I have 2 PhDs in computer engineering, 3 master degrees and an MBA, and 6 diplomas in law. This is my education. People say, okay, like, you have a PhD in psychology or philosophy? I said, I have none. I'm a computer engineer. I'm a professional engineer, actually. I have my ring. So this is how engineers will come, and the engineers are communication science, the behavior science. Step by step. Very simple. So, very good. What you didn't like today, or what today you see is not, it was not really the top of the day, other than the helicopter above us.
It's been a full day of learning. For me, there's nothing that it's been like, I knew that and it was boring.
Is there any overwhelming point you had today? Or
Overwhelming?
Yeah, or confused?
Not really. It's not over. Like it's like I said, now to say for this, it's the color.
Okay.
Like when I tell you which sheet it is or whatever, it's the color. So I can't, go through and be like I'd have to look at the notes, and so that part it's just that I don't remember exactly what the term is, but.
Shadow work and identifying your weaknesses is never something that's easy. But writing it down and being able to verbalize or identify something in you that you want to be able to change is really, really valuable. And it wasn't without identifying things that I wanted to change myself a year and a half ago that would actually provide me with the opportunity of sitting at this table, because that whole entire journey has led all of us into this one room, which is again, I interpret that with truth pimples and spirituality and all sorts of fun things that allow each one of us to be here and be able to share our ideas, because that hard stuff is what allows really growth to happen. And it related very well to my card.
So to give you back on the nice reflections you have, remember always, but is for buts. Any professional individual will never say but.
Because it negates everything I said.
No,
beforehand.
because it's for buts. We always say, however. It took me a few years
I didn't
to
even
take it.
realize I said but.
We don't realize.
Yeah.
When I came from Egypt, in Egyptian language, which is Arabic, we have only one B. We don't have the P. So you can say, I can see the book, the pen in front of me. We don't say the book, the pen in front of me. And this is a common thing. Anybody from Syria, anybody Arabic speaking language as first language, they will not have pen. They have ben. Because only one B in their language. There is no 2 B's. So it took me some time, close to like 3 years. And the way I did it is I went to my friends and say, whenever you see me see the B, not the P, you have to stop me. And if I don't stop, slap me. till I get it out of me. And now I go and tell the story. Can you see the book, the pen in front of you? What? The book and the pen. So it takes some time to take away some words, but is very alarming. Can is another one. So if you want to explain in front of individuals, you have to go a little bit higher level. So you never use but, I use however. I rarely now using it. I only use it to show people like you should not use your but.
Usually
Yeah.
I say and.
So-
And actually that's part of that's a transition from the last few years. I very rarely say but, and I didn't even realize I said it.
Yes, okay, no, just
No, I didn't.
take
Because
it
usually
back.
I'm saying and
Yeah.
because then it is both. So wherever I said but, put and there because that's what it was supposed
Yeah,
to say.
okay.
And that was a unconscious.
Yes, because you are mentally tired right now. You are in the most vulnerable point of the day. Okay? Any more reflections?
The vulnerable part, yeah, the chocolate really helped with it. Yeah. When I got is solidifying my promise. What is my promise? And so I didn't come here with that today. But the example that we had this morning with the soup Nazi, of the people lined up out the door, I'm not sure I want to be that kind of coach with people lined up out the door. I might want to be that coach that commands a higher price for people that don't want to stand in line. And so I got some work to do.
So, when you talk about the soup Nazi, you have to understand this. There is a huge difference between customer service and the customer experience.
Mm-hmm.
Which one do you like to have?
Customer experience.
Not customer service. But what we don't know is customer experience must have a customer service component to it. And the customer experience is end-to-end journey. If my promise, I'm your path to a brighter future, and one of our values is knowledge. Whenever we go, we share. And I have people who look at me and say, you have to stop being a professor. You are not teaching me anything. I say, okay, no problem. I'm here to share with you. I'm not teaching. Because there are some individuals who are they didn't do well in their schools, and they are very sensitive if you give them instructions. Or they were abused in their life, and they hate instructions full stop. So when you deal with these people, but we promise a path to a brighter future. And we believe knowledge and application of information, application of knowledge is the key to this path. That's why whenever you see any material from us, it will have a different application for a current concept or a brand new concept. This is what we commit to as Win Your Brand, as part of our integrity. So, good. Is there any part of the day you didn't like?
Really, just physically, the room is really warm, so I have to keep myself alert.
It's very hot here. Like when I stand here, it's very hot. I went back, I said, you guys have to shut down, because this office is always cold.
Not today.
This room is always cold. No.
And aside from like the content and the learning, there's no part I didn't like.
And as I said, we did not go through the concepts yet. We're just touching the surface. There are lots of this. We'll talk about it tomorrow and after tomorrow as well. Yep. Any more reflection? Jennifer, do you want to reflect?
I'm just very sad I can't be here tomorrow.
Will you not here tomorrow?
I can't be here tomorrow.
As I said, as a VIP,
Well, I could be here tomorrow, but I'm choosing to be at my daughter's dance thing that she's been practicing at for 8 months instead.
and
They decided to pick this date long after I had already gone to the workshop, so I had to go, oh my god.
And as I said, like as a VIP, you'll have access to all recording tomorrow. So Sunday you upgrade to the VIP, and you'll have video access to everything tomorrow. And then we can also have 3 hour sessions one-on-one to just help you. I don't work with people, and I don't work with anybody. So, but I'm more than happy to work with people. So, and as you said, like, I'm not here to sell you anything. There is nothing to sell. If you see the value, If you like the investment, if you can do it, you can do it. If you see the value, you want to get it for free, there are also always ways to get it for free. I have no problem with it. Okay? What you didn't like about today? Food, the coffee was cold.
Well, I'm not a fan of McDonald's coffee as much as you like it. I don't. But
Okay.
no, it was.
So you like next time to be Tim Horton coffee? Because when I brought, we always like to change the flavor. So we usually get a Tim Horton one day, Starbucks one day, or a McDonald's the other days, and people will come and say, we don't like Tim Horton because just this is coffee. So
You can't start with Starbucks or something and then go to McDonald's.
No, you did right. Again, you just.
so tomorrow you want a Tim Horton, or you want tomorrow Tim Horton, or you want a same one?
Well, she's not going to be here, so I'm fine with
Yes.
McDonald's.
I don't care at all.
Okay. Okay. Who else you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, I think that day was great. So, and coming in late due to sending my daughter up to Europe. That's where I was this morning, taking her to the airport. It was great because I really was able to just come in and follow along. So I did appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
I feel a lot more confident. I know we've been talking today about kind of being afraid of sales or marketing, and yeah, when I came, I feel like I didn't have a lot of my ideas defined, and I think that worried me because I'm like, I have to tackle this, and I don't have those ideas kind of defined. Now I really kind of know my brand, my promise, kind of how to identify my customers or potential customers and clients and how to sort through them. So I feel a lot more confident even just going forward with that. It's awesome.
And I believe for you it's a unique experience because
Yeah.
it's not that quite often. If you ask around you how many years in business each one of these individuals are,
Yeah, I don't.
it's maybe, I don't want to say double your age.
That's right. Be careful.
Yeah, I'm very careful. No, like this is one of the. I believe this is like when we have this mix. I remember one time I was working with Ambrose University, and we had 3 or 4 students there were still students looking for internship, and I invited them to the crowd, and it was amazing what they said about just the fact is he sat beside vice president engineering in an oil company on the same table doing the same activity with him. They said like it was like amazing example. So what you didn't like about today?
Oh, I liked everything. I think the McDonald's coffee, I found it really strong.
Yeah, it is definitely a bitter coffee. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
But yeah, I loved it. I loved everything.
Okay. Good friend. So what you don't like about today and what you like about today?
I really liked understanding how you would speak to somebody and then, like understanding how you speak to the different people. I also kind of identified that I'm more of a relationship and processing person, which really helps with my strengths with talking to people. And then what I'm going to take away is that, like for my own company, I really want to see how I can structure my presentation and my pitch and my portfolio so that it can appeal to all 4 of those categories.
And tomorrow or after tomorrow, I will share with you the first round of how you can structure a presentation, which at the end, you will be able to get people to mindlessly comply to the next step.
Okay.
And I will share with you this is like a 2 weeks process, 5 iterations. It's not that same, but I will just give you the starting point.
Okay.
And this will work for webinars, for seminars, for any presentation that you want people to move to the next level or the next step. And you have somewhere between 10 minutes to 90 minutes. It's the same sequence. Same information. Whatever you say in 10 minutes, whatever you say in 90 minutes. And that's why I have I have about 3 right now of these presentations. And I have no problem presenting at any time without notice.
Mm-hmm.
I walk to meetings, oh yeah, the speaker did not come. We have like 2 hours. Can you fill it? Oh yeah, I can. And you will see the stuff logical and how did you do this? Nothing. I know I can visualize. And also I will share with you a visualization scheme. Like I don't work with notes. I don't write with notes and give you my presentations. If you look at these things here, is part of the decorations. I have the booklets here, but I don't read. And I put the information here organized without sequence. The only time I read is when I guide you on a question, because I am facilitator for this workshop, that's right? So I have to basically say, but there are ways where you can look in your audience and understand from them what will be your next message, and you keep going. If you stand with notes on your hand, you are closing the heart-to-heart connections. When I learned these techniques before, this goes back to early 2000s. I was with a coach in Toronto, he passed away, and he told me, I will share with you my wisdom in exchange of what I did for him and his son. So I said in this learning, I have no value for it, because I was a professor at the university, why do I need to do this, you know? He said, you have to visualize your audience as people come on the seats, open their skull, expose their brain to your wisdom, and you have to be accountable for that. You don't thank the host, you don't affirm the obvious, you don't apologize. You give them your wisdom. So one tip for you for today, if you start a presentation or a workshop, you never thank the host, you never say it's hot, you never say, thank you Dee for presenting me, and you don't do this. You start with your hook, with your wisdom, with your story, to engage with the audience. If you affirm, yeah, we are here in this meeting room, there is no windows and there's actually nice photos, but it's very boring. I know that. Why you are saying this? So it bugs me when I go in the professional speakers and they start to say, thank the host and give a hand. Oh, well, this is their job to introduce me as MC. It's not.
It's like, thank
The
you.
minute
Thank
somebody
you.
will thank the host, you give away from your credibility. You are not credible to stand on the stage. And the host is giving you a favor. And the minute you anchor your feet, you want to offset the favor. This is how we read it in our subconscious mind. So I go and buy from stages. I go sit in the rooms and I bought my stone bracelets because of that. Because the guy did a very damn good job. He was the only one I seen in like a couple of years. Never thanked any host. Never affirmed. He went just to it because he's a professional. And I go to many speakers who teach speaking, and I say, you know what? They miss the whole boat. That's why none of these speaking clubs will work. So tip number one for today, whenever you stand, you start with a hook. You start to say your wisdom. You don't thank the host. You don't apologize for a delay. You have to start on time. We always say you have 118 seconds of delay, because you can start a little bit by 1 minute before 9 and a little bit after 9. But you have to start at 9. You cannot apologize. You cannot apologize it's raining outside. You cannot apologize the roads are busy. You don't apologize. You stand up, you start with your hook. What do you know about the market? And you don't use I. You use you, because they are about them. Okay? What you didn't like about today?
I wanted to say before that I just didn't feel that I always had the opportunity to wrestle some ideas with you and kind of figure it out, because I was still thinking through a lot of things, and then you'd just move on to the next topic, or I'd be curious about something and I didn't really fully understand it, and then we would just move on. And part of that is me not asking, but I've also put my hand up a couple of times and we just kind of moved on.
Oh yeah,
So-
I didn't know. So just if happens, this is on my thing. But I would encourage you, if you have questions or not, just write them in the notes, because we are a group of 7.
Yep.
So we have to make sure like the balance, as a role of moderator, you have to make sure that the interest is balanced among everybody. That's why sometimes when somebody speak right away, I give him his time and then I try to cut him right away.
Right.
Or I try to point out that other people need to participate as well.
Yeah, no, I
so-
understand that fully. That was one of the things.
Yeah, so just write it down and I will take care of this tomorrow and after so.
Okay, and hopefully we can talk personally after.
Yeah, we will. Okay, anyone, any other sharing? Okay, so we are at time, we are at 5 o'clock. I know we have a VIP session after that, and yeah, so if you wanna stick around to the VIP session, I'm here. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and we'll see Jennifer on Sunday at 9 o'clock. And
This family is.
So long as she doesn't abandon
So
me,
yeah.
no problem.
Yeah, because family is one of her values.
Copyright 2017 Win Your Brand. All rights reserved. This video is subject to copyright owned by Win Your Brand. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this video is expressly prohibited, unless Win Your Brand has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.